Hello, and welcome back to another Newport News Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Instructional Programs video. This is the third part of Man's Best Friend, Computer Animation. Now this is a cumulative tutorial. You need to have taken the first two parts in order to do the third part. You can't do this without the stuff that was done in tutorial 1 and 2. Alright, once you have Animator up, click File, then Open. Locate the file you made in the previous tutorials on your computer, select it, and click Open. Once you have it open, click Mode, and then Sequence. Now throughout this, remember at any point you have the ability to pause the video, so just pause the video if you need more time to do the steps. Now click Settings, then Sequence. Change Sequence 01 to say Walk. Click on the box with a ... in it and choose your figure. There's only one figure there, it's figure 01. Click OK, and then click OK. So all the boxes are gone. Now click View and then All. Use your select arrow and double click on the head bone. A box comes up. On the box under the word free, you're going to click on the 3 white boxes for XYZ. Check marks will appear. And then under no limits, same thing. 3 white boxes, you're going to click them and check marks will appear in them. That programs your bone. Click OK. Now we are going to need to do this for all the bones that are going to move. That's leg bones, tail bone, and head bone. We just did the head bone. And so with each one of these, one at a time, double click the bone with the select arrow. Click the 3 boxes under free to put check marks in them. Click the 3 boxes under no limits to put check marks in them. Click OK, and then go and double click the next bone. And keep doing that till all the bones we need are programmed. Then we're going to click View, then Right. This will let us get to a bone we couldn't reach in the other view. Double click the back bone leg. Repeat the steps of clicking XYZ under free, clicking XYZ under no limits. Click OK. Then we need to click View, then Left, then View, then All. This will reset our views back to the way they were. Now we need to activate the animation key. It is a picture of a key. Click on it, it turns green. Use your select arrow and left view to click on the front leg. Turn on rotational axis guides. Just follow the arrow there is where that is. And then use your rotate bone tool. If you have a center mouse button, you can use that. Otherwise, you need to hold the ALT alternate key and drag the ball of the bone with the right button to move the bone forward. Now we need to click on the timeline at the long line. This will be frame 12. Again, hold the alternate key and drag on the right button to move the leg back. Then click on the timeline at 01, that's 1 second. Hold the ALT alternate key and drag on the right button to move the leg forward. Again, you can use a center button if you have it instead of holding the alternate key. Now click on the last long line of the timeline. It's not the very end. Hold the alternate key again and use the right mouse button to drag the bone back. Click Sequence. We're going to change the frames to say 37 and click OK. Use your select arrow and click on the back leg in left view to select it. Click on the beginning of the timeline. That's frame 0. Now use the bone rotate tool again. Hold that alternate key and drag with the right mouse button to move the leg back. Click on the long line of the timeline and hold alternate key again and drag with the right button to move the leg forward. So we're going to have to do this for each leg. So now we've started on a second leg. Now click on the 01 on the timeline. Hold the alternate key and drag with the right button once again to move the leg back. Click on the last box of the timeline. Hold the alternate key and drag with the right button to move the leg forward. Once again, you can use a center button instead if you have one. A lot of people don't have one. Now click on 00 at the beginning of the timeline. Use your select arrow and click on the front leg that is on the opposite side than the one we already did. Use your bone rotate tool and again hold the alternate ALT and the right button to rotate the leg backwards. Click on the first long line of the timeline and hold that alternate key and right button to drag the leg forward. Click on the O1 of the timeline. Hold that alternate and right click on the mouse button and drag to move the leg back. And then click at the end of the timeline. Hold the alternate button and right click and drag to move the leg forward. And that'll finish that bone. And we got one more to do. Now get your select arrow. Select the back leg on the far side, the one we haven't moved yet. Click on 0, 0 on the timeline. Use your bone rotate tool and hold that alternate key, ALT, and use the right mouse button to rotate it forward. So notice that each legs on each side are opposite each other, and the front and back are opposite as well. Click on the first longer line on the timeline, hold the alternate key and use the right button again to rotate the leg back. Click on O1 of the timeline, hold the alternate button and use the right button to rotate the leg forward. So we're just about done with our legs. We got one more move to make and we'll be able to reuse this sequence over and over when we go to animate. Now we need to click on the last frame of the timeline. Hold the alternate key and use the right button to drag the foot back. Now take your select arrow and click on the tailbone to select it. Let's click on 0, 0 on the timeline to go back to the beginning. Use your bone rotate tool, left button this time, drag to move the tail down a little bit. Now click on O1 on the timeline. Use your left button to rotate the tail up a little. Select arrow, click a blank area in the purple there to just unselect the bone. Hold the right arrow on your computer keyboard and you'll see it scroll through the walking sequence. Again, we will be able to use this over and over, so it will save time in the long run. Alright, now's a good time to save, so click File, Save, but we're not done yet. Just saving because you never know when a computer will do something you don't want it to do, like crash. So now we've got our sequence, we need to build our scene and actually make a video. So let's animate. Go to Mode and choose Scene. Go to Settings and click Scene also. Change the length there to 169 and then click OK. That makes our timeline longer so we have more time to work with on our scene. The little block-like thing you see on the screen is the camera. Right, now click Settings, then Environment. Click the ... box next to the gray dark color. Use your color selector to get a light blue and then fade it up to make it even lighter. This is going to be your sky. Click OK, click OK. Let me point out you will not see that color right away. When you click OK, it's still going to look purple. That color will not show up until we render a video. Now click View. Click All, as we do just about for everything. Now we click Build, and then we're going to add a figure. And choose your figure 01 and click OK. This is how you put stuff into a scene. If you wanted to add an object, you would click Add Object. If you want to build a tree in object mode, you can then add object to put the tree in. And now we have our dog, so let's activate the animation key by clicking on it. It turns green. Use our move tool in front view. We need to move the dog so it's no longer sinking in the ground, and we do that by setting it on the line. In top view, we're going to move the dog up to the top right corner. Use the rotate tool in top view with the right mouse button to rotate it so that it's looking down at the opposite corner on the bottom. So it's diagonally looking down. And then we're going to click 07 on the timeline. That's 7 seconds. and use the move tool, and we're going to move the dog down to the bottom left corner. Click 0, 0 on the timeline, and then click the plus sign next to scene 01 on the timeline. Click the plus sign next to world, and then scroll the scroll box down till you see eFigure 01. Click build, then add sequence, click walk, and then OK. Then click the line after the last dot that appears on the timeline. Click build, then click add sequence, select walk, and click OK. This is how we put our walking sequence in, and we're going to use it several times. Saves time so you don't have to program the walk constantly as something walks. And so here we go again. Click the line after the last dot on the timeline. Click build, and then add sequence. Select walk, and click OK. So we've now used that walk sequence 3 times. It would have taken us 3 times as long as it took us to program that to have done the walk this far. And we're going to use it one more time. So once again, click the line after the last dot on the timeline. Click build, click add sequence, select walk, and click OK. Now, this sequence is actually going to go beyond where this stops, but you won't see that because it stops. But the computer actually registers it beyond the end of the scene. If we added more to it, the dots would be there for that sequence. Alright, click 0, 0 on the timeline to go back to the beginning. Use your select arrow to select the camera, that blue square looking thing, that's your rectangle, that's your camera. Use your move tool and rotate tools to position the camera in front of the dog using front and top views. Of course, you've got to use the tools one at a time, move tool and rotate tool, use them separately. Now click the last frame of the timeline, the very end. We're going to use the move tool to move the camera below the dog in top view. Now you will need to move the camera without clicking directly on it. You need to click substantially above it in order to move it without going out of the view. Remember, if your mouse doesn't stay in the view, whatever you're moving will go back to where it was. Now we click rewind, and we click play, and you should see your doggy walk across the screen. Play does not play in real time. It plays as fast as the computer can process it. If the computer processes really fast, it may jump really fast across the screen. You can use the right arrow of your keyboard to play through it at a more normal speed. Now click view and click camera. We're getting ready to render a video. It's very important that we render the video from camera view. Everything else was for moving and making animations. Camera view is what our video is, but the program will render whatever view you have selected. So doing this, make sure camera is selected. And now we're going to click render up at the top there, then render movie. Click the ... box for file. It'll open up your computer file system. Locate the folder you want the file to be on in your computer. Give it a file name, and then click save, and then click OK. And you're back to the box we started on. Well, you clicked OK on that. Now you've got this new box. And on this box, actually, all you need to do is click OK. And then you wait. It's going to run through the video. You'll see a red line go back and forth usually, and you'll see the dog move some. Once it's done, you can click close. You make sure you do a file save, so you save your file. And you now have a video file on your computer that you can go and watch where you saved it. Alright, this concludes the Man's Best Friend computer animation tutorials. Be sure when the world returns to normal, be sure to check out the Newport News Parks Recreation and Tourism instructional programs classes and the 3D computer animation. We have a couple different ones, robots and castles. Seasonally, we have the holiday cartoons. Stay safe and take care. Bye.